Welcome to Fertility Village. This is your weekly live talk show where community and support come together. With rotating hosts, expert guests, and meaningful conversations, we're here to guide you through the highs and the lows of infertility. Whether you're searching for answers, seeking advice, or just looking for a special place to belong, Fertility Village is your space to connect, learn, and grow. Because it really does take a village, and we are here for you every step of the way. Thanks for joining. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fertility Village Live. It's Erin here with my co-host Ashley tonight. Hey, Ash, how's it going? There's a few glitchy things happening here, so I'm just going to say it before we get into this episode. If I'm glitching, Ashley's going to take over, but I'm going to just go with it for right now. So we are so pumped tonight to welcome Jessica and Meaghan to the stage. Welcome, ladies, from myStoria.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you. Very exciting time at the moment as you guys are launching your Fertility Wellness Collective. We are going to talk all about it tonight. We're going to get into why, the how, the when, all the amazing things that it's going to offer the fertility community and fertility patients. And we've had myStoria on before, but we've kind of got into the weeds of that episode of, where the support is. So tonight we're going to talk about why the support, and we're still going to talk about where, but more about the collective and just this awesome partnership. We've always said, I met Jessica and Meaghan last October, so like a year and a bit ago now, and we could not help but think like we have the same North Star. That's what we kept saying. We keep saying it. We serve the same people. Our organization, Oasis, and myStoria, we are just all for the fertility patients. We want to make sure that there's enough support and enough care that anybody can go through a fertility journey and be like, yeah, it was freaking hard, but I was supported. I had what I needed. The doctor was amazing, and it didn't cost me anything. Like, that is the goal. When we get to that point, we will have made it. It's not going to be easy, but it's at least going to be supported. So I'll stop right there. And we want to dive right in. So why don't you start by telling us what inspired the creation of the Fertility and Wellness Collective? And then how does it differ from other partnerships models in the fertility space?
Sure. So I'll start and then Meaghan, just jump in when you're ready. So the collective was really born out of what patients kept telling us, but also it's been a foundation of belief since before myStoria's inception. It's really hard going through a fertility journey. There's so much out there that says they can help you or is the solution to your problems. There's tons of incredible companies doing at-home testing, education, nursing concierge support, additional testing you can do in clinic. And every company is doing something valuable, but patients experience it all as disconnected pieces. And so we really wanted to build a model and a collective, a movement that's the opposite of a disconnected approach where everyone can come together. We can own what we do really well and then work with other organizations to bring a kind of a 360 full circle option or menu of solutions for patients to work with. And I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, just to add on to that. So there's so many amazing groups, both nonprofits, and then you've got, all sorts of technology, right? Like Jess mentioned, at-home testing and all sorts of technology that you can experience throughout your journey. But, as we've seen even this last year there's kind of like an explosion of entrance of different companies and different solutions into, all sorts of women's health conversations, right? And so what we were finding and we were hearing from our users was that, there's so much noise out in the market and people don't even know what to trust or what they're hearing or where they should be looking for more information or support. And so part of what we wanted to do with the collective was to bring together those companies who we've been collaborating with, who are doing great work for the patient and really trying to solve for the issues and put the power in the patient's hands, and help, just help them have less of a terrible journey, right? Like, many of us have gone through a very challenging journey. I think all of us, right? I know we've all talked about our stories at different occasions on different platforms, but it's not rare, it's not unique. So pretty much every fertility patient has a similar story to tell. So, one of the objectives with bringing together all of these amazing companies and amazing groups supporting patients in different ways is to help just get the word out there and get the information into the hands of the patient so they know, all the different ways that they can feel supported through their journey.
Yeah, it's so good. And I love that this, just like Oasis, was literally birthed from like the shitty experiences of infertility. Birthed, it was, I mean, I don't love that word, but it was created from that place. And like we've both, I'm sure, talked to hundreds of fertility patients, hundreds of women mostly, who have gone through this journey. And I do not think I've ever heard from one person that said, it was so easy. Yeah, it was so fun. Like, no problem. It's just not a thing. There's nobody, right, Ash? Like,
yeah,
you've been through it.
For sure.
It's not easy.
It's actually so crazy because I remember, like, at the time I was walking away from fertility treatments, just couldn't do it anymore. And I was sitting there, I'm like, how did I get to this phase of years of my life and so much money and no success? And then I start talking to other people. Like, you don't realize how everyone at the core of what we're experiencing says the same kind of subjects or things across the board. It wasn't easy. I didn't know how to afford it. I felt like I needed a little bit more support. I wish I would have known things earlier. So it's really incredible to see, like Meaghan said, the nonprofits, the reasons, the patient-led nonprofits and solutions and innovations out there, like, coming to life and coming together.
Yeah. Why do you guys think collaboration is so important in this space, especially when we have so many organizations that are doing great things independently? Like, we have, like, Oasis does amazing things. You guys do amazing things. Like, what do you think the importance of collaboration is?
Yeah, I think, like Jess said, it's kind of been a core to how we've been building from the beginning, like before myStoria was even myStoria. It really was a guiding light for how we were going to build the platform. And I think that's exactly the problem. There's so many people and so many groups doing amazing things that you almost get like information overload, right? Like, how do I know what I need to know, or what could help me at what stage of my journey? To help me get to outcome faster, right? Like, that's essentially our MO in a nutshell, right? Like, we're trying to centralize everything the patient needs to help them get to an outcome faster, right? And so what we found, and what we've been finding with so many partners who are, whether you're a support group or, a patient-led nonprofit, or you're a technology that's helping people upstream at the kind of the beginning of your journey, or if you're even a technology that's supporting people after 3, 4, 5 rounds, is that there's no central place to learn about all of this thing, or understand when you should pull on something, when you should seek something out, when you should think about something, right? And you really can kind of see this come to life, like in Facebook groups and Reddit groups, right? Like, you can see where people are having these conversations, and you can just see the need to help guide them, right? Like, this is what they're seeking, right? It's what I was seeking when I was going to Facebook groups. It's what Jess, and I'm sure Aaron and Ashley, you too, right? Like, you're trying to hear from others who have done it, or have had, a positive experience with something to help you solve your problem, right? And so, if you're lucky, you can get some good guidance in a group like that. But more than not, you're not necessarily getting something that is specific recommendations to you, or to help you solve the problem at whatever stage you're at, given all of the other inputs to what's happening too.
Yeah. It's so much about human connection, and finding those Facebook groups, the support groups. It's like, I need to know I'm not alone in this. I need to know that there's other people feeling the same feelings, looking for the same answers. Like, that's like our human nature, is to like try not to feel alone, to try and understand that it's not just, you know, me by myself. I'm the only one who's ever gone through this, right? It's like that with any diagnosis or hard thing. We always say at Oasis, we can do hard things. We've got the journal that's called We Can Do Hard Things Journal. Actually, speaking of the journal, that's a good little point to make, because the journal is going to be accessible for free to anybody who's part of the collective, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Super exciting.
Amazing. I love that. I have my own journal and I've been writing in it, actually, Erin.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it was, and I've got my Oasis sweater on.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give a shameless plug for Giving Tuesday, because it's coming up in a couple of weeks, but and we'll get back to the collective in just a second. We got time. But Giving Tuesday, we decided to run a campaign at Oasis where it's a get to give campaign. So you got to go shopping. We're going to give you a discount code to shop on our website, and you get something, but in return, it's giving back to Oasis and it's helping us raise money. So it's a get to give campaign, December 2nd. So watch for the discount codes. We're going to give discounts for hoodies, for tank tops, for t-shirts, for toques, for candles, for cups, for everything. So everybody mark the date, December 2nd, come shopping at our website. So you can get a hoodie like
Love it.
Yeah. So good. Okay, let's go back to the collective. So how do you think bringing together all of these different because it's a lot of different partnerships, right? So there's financial access, there's treatment, there's testing. So how does it create a better experience ultimately? I mean, I feel like it's kind of self-explanatory, but do you want to tell us a little bit more about maybe some of the folks that are involved in the collective?
Meaghan, I want to say, and then Meaghan is the brainchild of how putting this all together with everyone that's in the collective. So I'll let her speak to that. But I just want to say, like, part of that value and like what we've been aiming to do is anchor ourselves in what the lived, as a collective, in what the lived experience of the patient is. And a large portion of that lived experience is, I don't know what I don't know. And I'd love to be able to understand, like, what are reliable resources? Like, what's out there to help me emotionally, financially, physically, like logistically. And so that is a kind of a core anchor of the collective.
I think that's like such a good thing, especially because, as Meaghan was saying, like, we're going to Facebook groups, like we're going to like what we are trying to find, like that connection, but they're not always reliable sources. They're not going to give you the best information. The other people on the other end are most likely not a doctor giving you this advice or giving you the recommendations. And so, or you're searching on Reddit, and we know how that can be. So it is true. Like, we really need like a good place to go where we know that the information that's provided is going to be accurate, updated. And so I think it's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, Jess, go ahead.
I was going to say, actually, to that point on, not knowing whether information is legitimate or not, and kind of tying that back to that lived experience is, we know as patients going through something that at 3 a.m., if an answer is not there, we're going to go figure out how to find that answer to either manage our anxiety, to just feel less alone, or to get to the next stage. And that's where this, like, how do we bring a collective together of people that hits the point for all areas of that lived experience at 3 a.m. or at 2 p.m. It doesn't matter. How do we like bring together credible, medically backed, like relevant information that lets them then put the power in their hands to choose what they want to do and to understand and to listen to?
Yeah, absolutely. So, bringing together such a diverse group of companies, and we continue to have conversations to bring more on, like we'll be adding to it quite frequently in the coming, I'll say coming months, because of, we're a small but mighty team. So by the time we can onboard people and roll it out, but so many of these companies and groups out there that are doing amazing work to support patients are small. They're either startups, they're new to the market, nonprofits that don't have huge marketing budgets. So part of what we're trying to do too is both elevate what's out there for the patient that can help them at, across the entire journey, that's medically validated, that's backed up, that's served up to them at the right time, so they understand maybe what to go down the path of and what to evaluate, or leverage. But, you know, the other piece of it is that like all the voices coming together help lift us all up. And so because everybody's, especially from a technology perspective, right? There's so many new companies entering the market and they don't have big teams. They don't have a lot of marketing budget to make noise out there. And so, you know, if we can all work together to bring attention to the fact that, hey, there's all these groups out there doing amazing things or technologies that can help you, you know, solve different problems at different stages of the journey, you should know about it. And so what can we do to all work together to bring that information forward? So, you know, we're not just all inundated by, I can think of maybe 3 or 4 companies that I keep getting paid ads for. And, you know, that doesn't necessarily solve the problem, right? Like they're solving very specific parts of the problem or the journey, or, you know, you're a period tracker or you're, you know, ovulation kit or that kind of thing, right? And it's like, okay, that's great. These things help solve problems and help us, you know, navigate certain parts of the journey, but it's about so much more than that, right? And that's what you're seeing in these Facebook groups, for example, where people are going and they're saying, well, I did this ovulation kit and then I did this and now I'm at the clinic and I've done this, but should I do that? And, you know, they're looking for that human connection. And I don't think that's going to go anywhere, right? Like there's a reason why you guys see an increase of people participating in the support groups, for example, right? Like human connection and support is not going anywhere, right? So for what we do with the technology, like our plan is not to eliminate human connection, right? Like we have a community element of what we do and we have humans in the loop. So we have, you know, a human run concierge team that helps support you and guide you through your journey. But also developing technology and how do we kind of ingest data from some of these other organizations that help us get a holistic picture of what's going on with you and help you make better choices or make more informed, like help educate you before you go into a doctor's appointment. So you know what questions to ask and help you clarify those questions when you leave the doctor's, because we all know you're going to go in, you're going to forget 90% of what they've told you and you're going to get home and want to get some sort of clarification, right? So 100% still believe there's some combination of all of the human aspect of this journey, plus what can technology help us do?
Yeah.
I want to circle back because I feel like maybe there's people listening. We've got quite a bunch of people who've joined us on Instagram at the moment, and I'm just wondering, do they know what myStoria is and what you guys do? Like we dove right in talking about the collective, but like let's just backtrack for a second and give a little explanation on what is myStoria and what's your core mission, your purpose, and why do you exist?
Yeah, I can take that. So myStoria is a tool platform for patients. The core element of it is we help you understand what your health information is telling you and help you put pieces of puzzle together on what's potentially going on. The intent is that by understanding what's going on with things that you notice about yourself, your health records, your health history, you can more effectively discuss that with your care providers. You can help get all your care team, if they're in different offices, rowing in the same direction on your care. You can start to connect dots, understand and learn more, so you can help make informed shared decisions with your doctors as well. And then through partners in the collective, like Oasis, connect with others in similar situations and work with each other in person in support groups. And that's all facilitated through, obviously, an Oasis. In addition to that, we have a really core theme of a nursing team that is available to patients all the time, that if they want, they can share their secure profile with our nursing team that can help them make sense of information. We also have an app like kind of like what you'd expect of Chat GPT, but this information talks to your medical records in a secure environment. So you can say, hey, what was my last thyroid test? Or is there any changes in my last E2 scores? Is my follicle growth normal? That type of stuff. And that's all speaking in a secure environment to your medical records too. We also, I've talked a lot about medical records, but it actually encompasses all aspects of your lifestyle, cultural, religious requirements, budget, diet, stress, sleep, anything and everything that could be kind of a piece of the puzzle to figure out what's going on with both you and your partner.
Yeah, just to add on to that. So some of the partners who do like at-home testing, for example, or have tests that you run even through, the in-clinic journey. So for example, Future Fertility has some testing. They provide a report called Magenta that'll go through basically your egg quality and explaining to you what you've got available to yourself. And so, I recently fed one of their test reports through to see, okay, if I add this to my profile, what does it say, right? And that's another purpose of the collective, is to bring together, okay, how do we kind of pull that information and how do we populate our profiles to help us make better decisions and ask better questions as we go through care.
Yeah.
But it's very cool with what it spit out. And so some of the other at-home testing we'll be doing the same thing with, but really, allowing us to kind of pull together all of the applicable information to what's going on with us in our journeys, no matter what stage we're at, to help paint the picture and help both the platform make recommendations, but then also our concierge team can provide better support and better help as you navigate.
Yeah. And knowledge is power, right? Like the more we know about our cycles and our bodies, like it actually can shorten the time that it takes for us to get to baby, or maybe eliminate a lot of testing, or like the spending of money that we don't have for this. Or maybe it could eliminate a situation where we end up, having something medically happen that we can't come back from. Maybe we could have prevented this if we knew sooner XYZ. So like all of this is so powerful. This tool that you guys have created, it's so amazing. We're really excited to announce tonight that myStoria is going to be available to all of the Oasis community for free for 1 year. So that is launching. I've got a little code here. I'm going to put it on the screen. So write this down, but you can use the code Oasis myStoria free for 1 year free myStoria. So we're super, super pumped about this. And thank you guys so much for taking care of our community, because they are going to be able to just learn so much about their journey and what's going on. So can't wait to see. Everybody's running right now for their phone or their computer to get on there. But tell us, so the collective is a free access. Like, can you explain the difference between myStoria and the collective and how they integrate? And you sign up for myStoria, do you get the collective? You sign up for the collective, how does that integrate with myStoria? Can you just explain a little bit for people? I'm just like wanting to understand the differences.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you sign up for myStoria, well, you get access to Ferdy, which is our companion app, and there's a web-based platform. But as far as access to partners, because they're all so different, it really kind of depends on what you're doing. But some of our partners who are doing like at-home testing, for example, well, they've provided discount codes for our community. So our community of users gets access to some of the support for a heavily discounted rate. Same with even what some of the like individual support folks, whether they be like in the genetic testing side of things, or even more of the like mental health support side of things. Like we've worked out agreements with some of them to provide discounted rates or access to their services for our users. And we'll continue to do that. So something I'd flag is that, we pass on all of these savings to from the collective to the users. So we're really just trying to offer up as discounted a rate as possible to our users to take advantage of these things, regardless of where they are in their journey. As far as something like Oasis goes, well, what we'll do is, we'll raise up the different support groups that are happening and maybe education or activities that are going on with Oasis. Like we'll serve that up to our users so they know exactly what's happening where and when. And then publicly, a big part of what we're doing is just collaborating on content and education and sessions and eventually live events, right? Like we're really just trying to find ways that we can get the message and get education to patients to empower them through their journeys.
Yeah, I know that recently you guys announced a partnership with Victory Reproductive Care. How does that reflect the kind of collaboration you guys want to see as like more in the industry?
Yeah, so Dr. Victory, when myStoria was just an idea, and at the same time I was walking away from my journey, I had reached out to Dr. Victory, and I was like, hey, can we just chat? Like, am I crazy? Is this actually helpful? And very quickly we aligned on the empowerment of the patient, the education, the engagement and shared decision, and the idea that help earlier and tracking your information and knowing your information earlier should have, and let's prove it out, that has meaningful impact on a fertility journey. And so we really aligned in this particular partnership with Dr. Victory and VRC with him and his team on the in-between referral from family physician and that first appointment through to first treatment at clinic. And how do we, in this kind of gap in time where you don't necessarily have structured experience or structured help, how do we fit in there and help patients prep for that first meeting so they show up informed, know how to communicate what's going on, and help Dr. Victory and his amazing team help them more efficiently. And so that was really kind of the premise of it. And that kind of aligns with this, whole concept that if we can get help and the right type of help early, if we can understand information, most of us should be able to, theoretically speaking, and through some of the stats out there, avoid IVF if we had that coverage. And so helping earlier with Dr. Victory's team and before first appointment was really the way of doing that. And that's what that partnership surrounds with.
Yeah, I think that's amazing because when you first go to an appointment, I mean, sometimes some of the things that they're telling you, they're like, oh yeah, you're going to be pregnant in this amount of time. Like, this is going to be like so easy, but really you don't know. And they don't really know any part of your cycle. They know your age and maybe like one or two little things about you. And they're like, yep, you're going to be pregnant within the year. We're not even going to have to do IVF. But again, a lot of the time they know nothing about you and they're going off of, like I said, a couple of things. So 100%. if you can bring them the data and, maybe they can give you a more realistic outlook on what the journey may look like instead of sometimes the empty promises that are being offered right away, or that, I don't want to say hope, but you know what I mean? Like that guarantee sometimes that some of the doctors say like, oh yeah, you'll be pregnant in no time. I had doctors tell me that, and that was not the case.
Yeah, 100%. Like that. And that's the thing that like I fundamentally truly believe is kind of where healthcare is going. And especially with all the wearables and crazy tests that we have and tracking tools that we can do at home, is like, every clinic doctor out there has a piece of our story. Like, they don't have all the information about ourselves, what's going on with our bodies. And the only way that stuff can be communicated is through the patient themselves. And so it's so critical when you get into complex care. And we all know, especially in private pay care, where we're struggling to find out, and this is so expensive, we all know we have to lean into that care. It's just very hard to do that. So sorry, my dog, partnering with a clinic that believes in that and that process and preparation and leans into that is really really cool, really game changing. Or I'm very excited, super excited about it.
Yeah, and in a lot of cases, there's so many things that we could be doing before we get to first appointment to really optimize our health and optimize our lifestyle factors and reduce stress, and even things like getting your finances in order, like understanding what this is going to look like for you, right? So if you go to clinic and they say anything aside from you just don't know how to track your cycle, you're going to spend some level of money, right? Mm-hmm. And people go into it and they don't know, right? You have no idea what you're looking at. So whatever we can do to help people financially, emotionally, physically show up ready on day one, that's really what Dr. Victory and the extended clinics and doctors under that umbrella believe. And, it's really what we're trying to do generally is to help people do this, prepare for whatever step of the journey you might need to go through, so that you're not in the clinic system and you've gone through a couple of rounds of IVF or IUI or whatever, and then start to kind of dig into what might be going on. And it could be simple things as lifestyle, right? Like if you've got a male factor infertility situation and some of that can be solved through some lifestyle changes, well, why wouldn't you want to get that started before, right? And avoid that potential issue. So, it's really what we're trying to do with the clinic, but then also centralize more of the story, right? Like, let's put together the actual full story of the patient when they walk through the door, right? So not just, and VRC Dr. Victory does an amazing job onboarding. The onboarding is very robust, but there's things once you get into the fertility environment where you're not being asked it, right? And a lot of it is those life cycle factors or lifestyle factors. So what can we help bring to the forefront to help doctors be more informed on the patient as well in an easy to understand and quick at a glance view?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because in the long run too, then, I mean, if they have a better understanding of your body, they're maybe not going to put you through expensive tests, or maybe they're going to say you can skip the IUIs and not, instead of paying that, and you go straight to IVF, right? Like, they maybe have a better understanding. So I can obviously see how that would help somebody financially, and then emotionally, you're not going through unnecessary tests and procedures and hoping these IUIs would work, when in the long run that was going to never be the case for you, that it would never work out and you can move right to IVF. And I can totally see the benefit here, how patients and even healthcare providers, right? The benefit to them, right? Not just our patients. Obviously, that's what this is all for, is for our patient, but it also helps them. And maybe in the long run, it helps with our wait times in these clinics, right? Because they can maybe take on more clients and help people through the process because they know how to help people better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Erin.
No, I was just agreeing. Absolutely, yes.
It could be as simple as, like, my experience when I first walked into the fertility clinic. First of all, I walked in being like, this is the solution. I am going to be pregnant next month. And obviously I hope that for everyone. And then you realize you have to go through testing over the course of a month or more, and then get a follow-up appointment. And then I found out at that follow-up appointment a couple months later, I actually needed an MMR vaccine. I was out of date of that. So then I had to get that and then wait a little bit before I could then try again. And it's like, I wish I would have known in the months waiting to get into clinic that I should go make sure I had all this stuff. Like, it could be as simple as that. Like, do I have everything needed? So when I walk into clinic, there's nothing I could have done before that's going to stop me from going forward on top of everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, there's things we would have done differently in our journey if we had had some of the access to things that today are out there, right? Like, a lot of these technologies and tools that are out there now, like, were not out there 5 years ago when I was going through my journey. But, if I'd had access to some of this, I know just my personality, I would have taken it upon myself and done literally everything I possibly could have, right? Before going to my GP to say, okay, I think something's going on. But I think had I done that, we would have pulled forward that conversation with the GP by years, right? So I cannot be the only one thinking that. I think there's probably a lot of people out there, a lot of type A's, who want to gather all the information they can without needing to reach out for help. And can totally change their journey and their lives, right? If you could get into clinic 3 years sooner than you end up getting in there, right? That can change your experience, potentially the makeup of your family, depending when you actually do go to clinic, right? Like, it has huge ripple effects.
Yeah.
Do you
I have no doubt I would have had more children if I had done things differently. Like, hindsight's always
2020.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like, it's unfortunate that we end up in these situations where you kind of get just like fed through the system. I wish myStoria existed when I was going through my journey, so that I could have figured out some of this stuff sooner. It's unfortunate, but it's here now, and this is, it's going to impact so many people who choose to jump on the platform. So super exciting. And then use it, like, really get in and use it and utilize what you guys have created.
We've talked a little bit about data, but do you guys see opportunities for shared data or research or innovation between, like, the collective partners, like, to improve the outcomes or accessibility?
Definitely. I think, even at CFAS, when I was in Quebec City in September. There was a bunch of amazing sessions, and there was a bit of a recurring theme that I pulled out from it that was, even with like the use of AI in fertility clinics, was, well, we need longitudinal, like over the course of a long period of time, patient-driven data, and that information and pulled together. And obviously, I fully believe in opt-in, like the patients want to anonymize that information of theirs and share it to help with research, is so critical to advancing the understanding of fertility, but also like as so many people are talking about right now, women's health in general. And so I think that there's such an element of collaboration with the collective and trying to pull all of this together. Number one, to help the patients, but number two, to then push forward either like, patterns, collective intelligence that people can learn from each other, as well as support the incredible research done to, like, I have thin lining issues and that's still an unknown mystery. Like I'd give anything so for someone to figure that out for me and do that.
I am so interested to know how, so if there's folks listening or watching later, because this is going to go on Spotify and kind of live there forever on our podcast, but how can other industry partners or partners from the field of the fertility medicine, how can they get involved with the collective? How can they be part of this too?
Well, the easiest way is probably just to email me.
Okay.
You're looking at her. Just Meaghan at myStoria.com. I can put that maybe in the chat or whatever after you put the post up. But we also have a number, even on our website. There's all sorts of pages. There's a collective page. So myStoria.com --collective. You'll find it. People will find it. But basically all emails on the website lead back to me. So any way you can contact us leads to me. So I'll get it.
I'm going to post it right now into, we can see it on YouTube and we can see it on Facebook. We're going to make sure that you can see it on, there we go. Reach out to Meaghan. I think I got your name. Yes, I did.
Yeah, you got it.
Amazing. So absolutely reach out, because this is a great way to get in front of fertility patients. It's a great way to connect your services and products in and be part of this amazing collective. I mean, it's going to be so successful. What does success look like for you guys in the collective? What does it look like for you? Like, give us like the 6 month, 1 year, 5 year, hope for what you're building.
You go.
I'll just anchor the first one and then you can run with it. But
yeah, my questions are always run on. I have run on questions.
Oh yeah. I also, so like, obviously all of us are doing this because a lot of us are patients, or we know a patient or we've seen it. And this is all to help the patient. So, those classic ways that you can support a patient emotionally, financially, physically, and people actually say, wow, like that was an incredible resource for me and it helped me get through my journey easier, faster, better. I got to my goal. That is really the true sign of success with the collective in general. The second would be also, the ability then say the collective is actually helping us understand more about fertility and advance, or help advance the science or contribute to advancing the science. Meaghan, I'm sure you have
contributing to the research for sure. And I think, even seeing on the individual level, like, of course we don't necessarily know this, but, seeing users go and, maybe they opt in for a future fertility in their clinic, right? And then they're taking that report, they're putting it into myStoria and comparing that data against other data that's going on with them, right? Or, some of this at-home testing. Okay, now consolidating that information in one spot and seeing, okay, is there anything we can learn from these overlaps, right? Like, we have a hypothesis about this, but is that starting to become reality, right? And so, that's part of what we want to encourage with the collective as well, right? Is as many ways as you possibly can or want to get information, get education, empower yourself for your journey, putting it all in one place and seeing what the collection of that data tells you. Is there something in there that raises a flag, generates a recommendation, helps our concierge team help guide you in some way that we wouldn't necessarily have known to do if it had just been solely call and talk to a concierge member, right?
Yeah.
So really consolidating that from a data perspective and then helping serve up opportunities to them, right? Like we want them to know about Oasis support groups, right? Like if you're not necessarily, you guys aren't doing paid ads, we don't do paid ads either, but you know, if you're not necessarily following certain channels or you're not getting information in certain places, like they might not know about you. So, you know, we're just trying to find other ways to make our users aware of what's out there that we stand behind and we believe would help them.
Yeah.
So I think even just hearing that, right? Like we'd love to hear an anecdotal story in a few months of, you know, hearing you say to us, hey, someone showed up to a support group and they heard about us through myStoria. Like,
oh, it's going to happen. Yeah, like at the most, for sure. We've already even just through our website or through like in having resource page and, you know, that kind of thing had partners, you know, have things happen, amazing things happen just from being connected. I'm going to say it again for anybody who just joined us in the last 20 minutes, but there's an amazing offer right now. So we don't know when this is going to end. So you need to get on like now, but you can get access to myStoria as a member of our community. And that could mean you joined us tonight and listened to this episode. It could mean you came to a support group. It could mean you ordered a journal online. It could mean any of the things. If you are like listening to this or you're part of our community in any way, shape, or form, free access to myStoria using the code Oasis myStoria free access for 1 year. So what's the value of that?
I wasn't sure if Jess was going to jump in there.
Right.
So yeah, right now it's almost $600 in annual value. So does give you access to the concierge team and you know, allowing you the centralized profile. We can go out and help you source your medical records. Gives access to Fertility, the companion app, which quite honestly, I'm even feeding information into, not currently on a fertility journey, but you know, it's very different than ChatGPT, a similar experience when you're in it, right? Like how you would ask questions and the feedback, but it's specific to me. It's specific to what's going on with my body. It's comparing, you know, the blood work I put in this week with some other imaging tests I got done last week, right? And it's looking for patterns and recommendations based off the combination of what I have fed into it and what questions I am asking it. And so you know, it is designed for fertility and reproductive health. So I have to tell it like, hey, I'm not actively trying to get pregnant, but the output of it is super helpful and like really helping me just figure out like, what do I need to ask my doctor at the next, you know, the follow-up about this blood work, right? Like, what is this telling me, or rather, what is it not? So how do I push to get more insight, more information, right? Like, how do I get an actual result to what I am, or a solution to the problem I have, right? And so in a lot of cases, we go to doctors and okay, if your blood work says nothing or your imaging says nothing, you say, okay, great. You walk away and it just dies, right? But okay, well, you went to the doctor for a reason. So how do you now push on the next thing, right? So that's how I'm using it right now. So help push me to make sure I get to an answer. Like, what questions should I be asking?
I think there's like a lot of power of having your information and medical records all in one spot, especially if, I mean, for myself, I've seen I can't even tell you how many doctors I've seen. And so to have all of that information in one spot and then be able to, if you do go to another location, you can be like, look, here's all my information and I've tried all this or I've done this and I don't like, so I'm not repeating tests and I'm not repeating and, you know, doing things we've already tried that didn't have success. I think there's so much power in just having that information and like in one location. I think that's just amazing I mean, my medical records are all over the place. I think I'm at like 5 different clinics and
yeah, even if you had a short journey, you probably have hundreds of pages of medical records, right? And so if you think about going to a new doctor, okay, let's say, you know, you've decided the clinic you're at is no longer for you, you go to a new one and you've got 500 pages of medical documentation. what do you think's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Like, you think someone's reading all 500 pages of those? No, right? So part of what we can do with myStoria is summarize all of that, right? Like in a succinct way,
Yeah.
and then enable you as the patient to go to that doctor's appointment and say, hey, here's like a 1-page summary of what's going on, what has gone on with me. Here's what I'm allergic to. Here's what I responded to this particular drug 10 years ago, right? Like a summary of all those things in a snapshot view to really empower you to have the most effective meeting with your doctor.
Yeah.
How does sorry, Erin. How does the upload process work of uploading, like, let's say you go to the clinic and you get like the result of like an ultrasound, or you get the blood work. Are you like scanning a document in, or are you taking a picture of it, or how are you, or typing it in? Like, how does that information get added?
So tons of different, like, we've purposely built in basically a bunch of different types of routes for either the patient or to authorize our nursing team to go do that work for them. So you may not even like you going yourself and asking for your medical records. I remember doing this with my Ontario clinic to go to my New York clinic, and I think I was charged, I don't know what it was, like 40 cents a page, or I forget what the number is, but there was some charge per page, versus you're asking our nursing team to go get that for the purposes of your healthcare record management for yourself. And we can go through that no cost. Like, there's no charge. So there's that, plus just there's enough to do on your fertility journey. Like, we're trying to not add more to your plate. So that's the intent. The other is you have a patient app and you get a result in there. You could screenshot that and then upload it, and it will extract and organize your information for you too. You could talk to so I'm a big believer in talking in the car. Like, I love talking in the car to myself.
There's like half the employees here like voice notes, and half of us don't. So yes, Jess is a big voice note.
We just have sent a few voice notes.
Yeah. You know what, Erin? You got me onto the voice note. I wasn't previously on voice note. I'm into it now.
I love that for me.
I'm still not on.
I love a voice note. It's just like,
can you guys hear my dogs barking if I keep it?
I wasn't sure where it was coming from, but it's fine.
Okay, I'll mute if they keep going. Sorry. Okay, I'm just going to mute for a second.
Anyways, what Jess was saying is there's all sorts of different avenues that you can load it in. So like last week I had imaging results that were, I downloaded actually through Pocket Health. And so I just downloaded the document, and then I uploaded it into Ferdy, and then asked the questions that I wanted to ask it about. And I'm also like a big screenshotter. So like I screenshotted Life Lab results, for example, loaded it in. Or to Jess's point, okay, if you're having symptoms and you want to ask some questions about it, like chat to it, like, blather on as long as you want about whatever is going on with you, and it'll kind of distill down what it is that you told it, and then either spit out responses if there is questions, or it can kind of summarize it, and then you can follow up with questions.
I like that. Yeah. Oh, no, finish, because you got cut off by your dogs.
Yeah, sorry. That's classic. There's two of them. One of the big things, like from the chat perspective and from our belief as a company, is, I'm so tired as a patient of an opinion being imparted on me. Like, I want to understand what my options are. I want to be able to understand the pros, the cons, and make a decision based on my beliefs, my budgets, my way of wanting to do something. Like, doesn't matter. And so our kind of big thing in the function of that chat is educate, help understand, help you through different questions that you may ask, maybe frame how you want to think about something, but never to give an opinion at any source. So I fundamentally believe that is so critical, because there's just so many opinions coming at you in the world in general, that it's like, I just need more so help understanding that. So that's a big one. And then interestingly, I'm in BC right now, and I wanted to go to the doctor, and I was like, okay, well, like, we walked away from our fertility treatment journey, but obviously holding on to hope and hearing so many stories of people walking away, I'm like, maybe it'll still happen. So I'm like, let me go figure out this lining issue. And I remember trying to understand, okay, how do I position to the GP who doesn't have that expertise, like what's going on with me and what the background is and all the things that happened. And so I had almost like a summary of all of my information that's happened in my past, plus here are the questions to ask the doctor and here's what to specifically tell them. And so that was like wildly helpful too, just in terms of using it myself for my own stage of my.
Totally. And I love so much that you've pivoted to AI. Obviously, it is the future. Like, we're already all using it. I use it for my dog's vet records to understand what's going on with her. And we use it. I mean, I don't know. If you're not using AI every day right now, then I don't know what you're doing. But I I feel like we're using it. We don't even know we're using it, but you've integrated it into your app so that people can get like to understand, and it's just such an amazing tool. I love that it's created like a safe place to use it within the app, right? Because you just throw it out there on ChatGPT if you're like, wanting to understand, and it can lie to you. It can not give you like the whole truth, and it's not, we don't know how accurate it is. So knowing there's like a trusted space to use it with regards to your fertility, with regards to your medical records, I just love that you guys have created this. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I honestly, like, one of the kind of guardrails we put in there was, if like there's always the technical quote is like hallucinations that can happen with these chats that are like, to your point, like something that's just wildly inaccurate, like made up. So part of what we've been doing and working on over time is, if we are not for sure that this is medically backed information, then respond with and pull in what we call like human in the loop, our nursing team. Like, hey, the chat is actually not sure. Ferdy is not 100% sure on how to answer this question for you, or this is out of the chat scope. But do you want to book an appointment with our nurses? Do you want to pull them into the chat? Do you want us to help like frame how you want to ask this question to your doctor? Like, what can we do to help you? Do you want us to help you get an appointment with the doctor? Like, whatever you need help with. And so that kind of approach that I think is not going anywhere, back to the human component. Like, we're all creating human is going back to that. And kind of eventually, as we're going through this, random ideas like, hey, actually, that would be a great question to ask someone else similar going through it. Did you know that there's a Oasis support group? Like, there's so much stuff like that we can do to say it's not just about the responses on a chat, but it's also about that human in the loop via expert or peer support or whatever that looks like.
Yeah, that's so good and so important to note, because the human, well, AI can't replace us. That's ultimately the truth in most ways, I hope.
Yeah.
So that's really, really important to note. But I love that it'll suggest, I don't know. I've heard of people using ChatGPT for therapy. I've heard of people using AI for, like medical records, going through all that stuff. But if it can start recommending, like, have you heard of Oasis through your app? Or have you heard of, the different, the future fertility? That's so cool. Very, very cool. And it's using your independent individual story to basically create the recommendations. Amazing. It's all just hitting me how cool it is. Very, very cool.
Thank you.
Well, we have a couple more minutes left, and so we about 5 minutes before we'll wrap this up, which thank you guys so much for joining us tonight and for including Oasis as part of the collective. We just feel so honored to be part of it, and so lucky to be alongside you guys for this, and hopefully just collaboratively, collectively supporting so many more fertility patients on their journeys. But this is our favorite question. We ask this question to, I would say, most of our guests at the end. But if for anybody listening tonight who's in the thick of their journey, what would you tell them right now? What would be a message you would share with them?
I'd say, like, there's so many things, but if I could distill it down to one, is take care of yourself. And that can be through peer support. It can be through educating yourself so you feel better when you're going into that appointment, whatever that means to you. Take care of yourself, because it's so easy to lose yourself on these journeys and to not take care of yourself while you're trying to optimize and take care of all the things about yourself too, that that's super important. And like I say this to everyone, but genuinely like DMs and Oasis groups and all these other things are always open to people that have been there, done that, and are know the struggle and are here to support. Like, that big sister, little sister, best club, worst club, best members. Almost screwed that one up.
Yeah. So it's definitely not the best club, that's for sure.
It's definitely not the best club.
I can think of some better ones.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think I would say, everybody in your care team is your partner. You can ask questions, you can ask for clarification. Don't take everybody's word for it, right? Like, you're allowed to ask questions. You're allowed, especially if something doesn't feel right? Like, when I was going through my journey, I didn't ask questions about anything. I just showed up and listened to what they told me to do. And it wasn't until in retrospect where I was like, well, probably should have been told what that was, or should have asked a question about that. But you don't know until, you're through it, right? And so they're your partners in it. They want to be your partner. They don't want you to just blindly follow. They want you to ask questions and be active in your care. So, don't be afraid to treat them like a partner, right? You can ask questions and clarification and push back if something doesn't feel right. Yeah,
that's great. That's great advice. Really, really good. Ash, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I just think that this is going to help so many members, and I'm so glad that we get to be a part of it.
Well, I'm so honored that you guys are part of it too. So thank you for this time. And
cheerleaders from the beginning.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Okay, well, this is a wrap. Thank you so much for joining. Before we go, where can people find the collective? Is on myStoria's website, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. So myStoria.
Yeah, they can just check out myStoria.com. And you can also, follow on Instagram's primarily where we put up content, and Jess pushes out a lot, and I've got a myStoria account too, so you can follow any one of us.
Awesome. We will be following. We'll link all of that in the show notes when this goes live on Spotify. So yeah, we can't wait. And for anybody who's just joining or tuning in at the very last second, myStoria access for free for a year using the code Oasis myStoria, free, all caps, on the website. So go sign up. Don't wait. Check it out, and get help. Get supported on your journey. It's going to be great. Thanks again, ladies. And I'm sure we'll be seeing you. Take care.
Thanks all.
Good night.
Welcome to Fertility Village. This is your weekly live talk show.